Hello, guys. It's me again. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Anyways, we're back. One more to follow on another episode.
Ati alikuwa naimba. Najaribu.
No, it's at first I
It's
wasn't, and then
me.
I wondered why it was in my head, and then I continued. Anyways, back again with me, Owen Landazana. My name says the ever so gorgeous. That's what she keeps on calling us, but she doesn't tell you guys how good she looks. Konene and yeah, Mr. Tim. So I'll just dive right into it.
Oh fuck, I've just realized
Yeah.
Mtamina Sababora makes me sound like I come from a dynasty. Now I want to change that name.
Well,
Kinjeketile Ngwale.
whatever works.
Name is Jay.
I was part of the Maji rebellion.
Chairman.
He didn't even know what happened there. What happened in the Majimaji rebellion?
That babe was squatting on people.
Outrageous. Get ready. Yeah, that's that. Cliffhanger, whatever they call it. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I hope they get all of that. That's mad. That's just mad.
I don't know what Muloti on the other side is thinking.
So, anyways, straight into it. So we've spoken about our belief and our thoughts on intimacy and platonic intimate friendships and experiences from the opposite sex. The what do you call it, the original or like olden definition of sex or gender, just to be inclusive to everyone. And yeah, so in this episode the question would be, how would you advise people to go about forming these friendships? So since I'm moderating, I can't start.
Well done.
That was the beauty for being a moderator.
Huyo mwingine ongea kwa mic.
Buloti, unanisikia?
He was just minding his business.
Shouldn't have told me his real name. That's why
No.
he went wrong.
So yeah, how would you advise people to go about it?
Well, forming a friendship and a relationship is pretty hard, mostly for introverts, I think. But then, where do you find these friends? That's the main question. Where do you find these friends? Start small. Take a step at a time. Small step to building a relationship, because it's not easy. It's not easy finding people who you have common interest with, who you share. Sorry, some words came out before the others. One, for you to form platonic friendships, you have to find somebody you have common interests. You share maybe hobbies, all that thing. Maybe even in the same organization, in the same friend group, you go to a local together, you go to the same church. It takes a step of vulnerability for you to get there. One, make that, jipatie initiative and usalimie mtu today if you don't have a platonic friendship, or look at that friend of yours who you've been probably in touch with for a long time and you haven't defined that friendship to be platonic. What else? Okay, had points. And then being on this side of the table
funny.
makes you.
Before that, I was thinking to myself, the concept of friendship is wild.
Yeah.
Because you find a stranger and you're like, you look interesting. Let's go and do things together forever, kind of thing. Like,
Can we do that?
That's wild. Like that's
That's a red flag. If you come and tell me, hi, you look nice. Let's do things together for the rest of. Hey.
But essentially, that's what friendships are.
No. But it starts somewhere. It starts small. Like, hi, what's your name?
It does.
How you doing?
Do that again.
Hi, what's your name? I'm a chocha.
Very relaxed, Nini.
You always
Melanie, I'm not seeing your feet under here.
Sina miguu.
Those are not your legs. Yeah. Men can lie.
men can lie.
Akiwa baba.
Men can lie.
So
He was
advice?
defining. He was saying.
No, I was just saying like the concept of friendship is strange. But sorry, the question.
How would you advise people
How would
What's your
I
take
to
on
make
advise?
it?
these new connections?
Ah.
To be vulnerable, to
Ah.
say hi. I want you to be my person, my personal person.
Mine is a bit radical.
Without the sex.
It's okay. That's
It's a bit radical, but I guess it's also how I was socialized. It's how I saw mom do it. It's how I saw, or rather, it's how. Actually, yeah, I've also seen it. Her mom do it. Yeah, the mom side is always like really cool. And for some strange reason, Kwamza inakwanga a bit different. It's more structured and methodical and
Depends
stuff.
with people.
Yeah, true.
I have a different
it could be
view.
the inverse. Yeah.
Most
Anyway,
people say the mom side. They always say, "Hey, the dad side."
the dad side is
wild.
where.
Hey.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
so my show was brought up in the traditional African setting where everyone is welcome, everyone is a friend. You know, you give everyone the benefit of doubt. Now it might not apply as much because people are becoming more and more self-centered and individualistic and stuff. But that's not to say that you cannot portion yourself out like that to some degree. Meaning, what's stopping you from meeting someone and just telling them, yeah, I have a bit of trauma. Like, okay, but also, you know, you have to have healed from it first. But you have a bit of trauma, you know. And what kind of trauma? Be honest about it. What does that do? That fosters trust between you and the other person. It also it's from my experience, it disarms them completely because they're like, okay, well, this person is like this and they're still functioning and stuff like that. And from then now, I think that's even how we started. That's how we started talking.
Yeah.
Even us, that's how we actually, that's how we bonded. How come ukidisema nikwambia venye nimeachwa last year?
we had bonded before.
But we had
Over
bonded
tea and
before.
some very useless things.
We're very useless.
Tea,
See, gay
shoes.
friendships, inakwanga just.
But hata yetu ilikuwa useless. There was no main agenda to our bonding.
The first interaction. But then now.
Oh yeah, the first interaction was.
The first interaction, yeah.
But no, the good one. This is what I'll never forget RJ saying. He was like, "Do you have a podcast? No. Would you like to start a podcast with me?" I'm like, "Why? Because it'd sound good together."
Na si hata
Here we are.
najiona.
1 year on.
Hey, those ones. To date. Every time I hear RJ, I'm like, RJ.
Yeah, and you see, so that leap of faith, look where it's brought me to. Yeah. So yeah,
beautiful.
it's a bit radical because then on the other end of things is you're very susceptible to hurt, and that's something that I've experienced in. I'm not going to get annoyed. I'm not going to get annoyed. But I've had situations where people have not fully healed. People have not fully matured. Okay, not fully, but you know, to some degree, that makes you a functional human being. As too many times I get into conflict with people, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're doing XYZ, you're doing XYZ, you're doing XYZ," and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, I am. But also, can we look at it from this perspective? And that requires someone to raise above the conflict, and you end up losing friendship. And it's something that you've invested in. It's something that you put your heart and your soul into. But, you know, it's not always going to work. So that's the flip side. But me being a glass half full, it's not even half full, it's more than half full, like 50.9% full kind of guy. For me, I'm like, you know what, just, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
That's very, very true. Actually made me realize I've had seasonal platonic friendships. Seasonal in that we shared a common problem or interest at a certain time. Then with time, the problem was no longer a problem. So we can no longer bond on that problem. So finding something else to bond over was kind of difficult. But then I don't regret it because at that moment, if I didn't have that person, I'd probably be in the trenches right now. So as much as it has dawned on me that as much as we'd want that platonic friendship to be forever, there are days and times that actually can be very seasonal. For a certain time, you concentrate on an individual because they are going through what you're going through, and you're feeling like sharing your problem or sharing your happiness or sharing that joy at that moment makes it work for you guys because you both understand each other at a frequency that nobody else is understanding. But then once that frequency goes, what happens? Because forming those relationships are easy, maintaining them, now that's another story. It's very, like, if we stopped doing this podcast today, would we still be this three group of friends that always have a vibey time?
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, yeah. But then remember, we'll have to find other things to bond over.
There's very many things we can bond over.
For example,
A mutual love for all things beautiful, especially
I
women.
thought he was going to say tea, and then he went deep.
By the way, let me tell you guys, I've been taking 1 cup of tea a day.
Which is a good thing. That's a step in the right direction.
Hey,
Been
Enjoy your
taking
time.
I'm fighting this
four
addiction.
you see those friend cups? You see, like, we should watch Friends. You see that mug? 4 of them a day. If I don't take those 4, already right now I haven't had breakfast and my head is
It's doing the thing.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking of how I'm gonna
1
get the
cup
next
of
cup
tea.
of tea. How?
I'm fighting the addiction.
Julia, your story
But
after the
caffeine is
episode.
good.
Tea.
Tunatafuta chai.
Yeah.
Sijui. Hebu uliza Buloti kaa kuna chai.
Buloti.
Mluya akose chai.
Mzinga kona already. Pretty sure.
So yeah.
But I think the question is, where do you find these friends?
All right. I think that's a question we will get to. How to advise people to go about it? I think it starts with and it takes it will showcase how I don't have one perspective of things, but it's always a multiple
Multivariate.
yes, a multivariate actually take on things where you take more than one variable. So yeah, I'd say it starts. I think when dealing with other people, you need a whole lot of presence and knowledge with yourself to be able to genuinely interact with people. And that doesn't mean you guys will not fight or have issues. So I would say be your own self, be your own friend first. Be comfortable with yourself. Like understand yourself, or rather, and that's always a journey. That doesn't mean there's no, you see, the problem with human beings is that we think things are finite. We have that, we want to get to a particular point, but life is, and I like the yin yang representation of it. I think it's Chinese, I hope, and it's continuous. Life keeps on going, like time in itself, or the sands of time and the hourglass. So once you find some fortitude with yourself, that's what you'll be able to share with people. So when you get that, and you don't go to people for particular reasons, and just, I think, boils down back, or narrows down back to how I say experiencing people. You genuinely just want to experience them, and you brew great friendships. That doesn't mean I've not lost people. That doesn't mean the friendships weren't great at the time, like you said, seasonal friendships, but they're still there. And just like you asked, because they are complex. Like, I keep on feeling, if I struggle with myself, like if I have crises with myself, and I always need to recalibrate.
Crisis with an I and an E.
Yeah. And I always need to recalibrate. Now you can imagine how much more you need when you're dealing with another person. So there will be struggle, there'll be bad times, there'll be breaks. So how you can go about having platonic friendships is by one, because if you're solid in that, what you are, or what you have, or what you want, you don't bring your struggle to that. Doesn't mean you can't discuss, and you have genuine healthy friendships, and then you traverse the rest, because friendships, like you said, is wild, and the idea, the concept is very wild, but isn't that and the entirety of human interaction, because I think friendship sums up human beings, like everything about human beings. So yeah, that's what I'd say. It helps you when you're forming new ones, when you're losing old friendships, because things could change. Like you said, you bonded over the same problem. That didn't mean that friendship wasn't great at the time. It was, and it worked. And like he also mentioned, most people, because most people, I mean, living like that, you're also susceptible to a lot of pain and anguish. And that I can't remember the saying, but it's the weight of joy is nothing compared to the burden of pain. Like feeling pain once will, for example, going through like a heartbreak, or for example, or anything, or a breach of trust, that pain that you feel overshadows, most people, it always overshadows all the joy that you experience. But if you continuously are okay with yourself, and find ways to keep you going, and because that's life in its simplicity, it's just the continuity, or at least that's what I think. And yeah, you're able to traverse and be able to just move through the friends, or move through the friendship. So you're like, where do you find these people? I think you can find them anywhere. Interactions, just like you asked, you all bonded over a deep conversation, we bonded over tea. We don't know what led us there, but afterwards we've done it. And I believe, like, even without this podcast, I think we'd still do great. All the, I hope you guys are okay, the happy new year messages, the you guys, we should, I mean, we've only recorded 3 times. We've been friends for almost a year now. So yeah, so I mean, and that's
Young
that.
baby, gele,
It's been an
gele.
amazing
Woo!
year.
I think,
Been
yeah, I
amazing
think
one year.
my advice would be like
Confetti.
that.
Sense with confetti.
Buloti ataweka confetti.
So I think that's it for me. If be your own friend first,
Yeah.
and then that's what you magnify. And a lot of times it will work, a lot of times it won't. But that's life in its essence.
True.
It's
Very
the
true.
balance of everything.
I think also we need to appreciate more and more that the ultimate culmination of love is grief.
Yeah.
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 That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
It's mind-boggling.
yeah.
Smart people.
Smart joker.
Hmm.
But
But the genuinity of these friendships are just amazing. They're very good.
and the
Like
intentionality.
it made me realize there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of happiness. There's a lot of companionship. There's a lot of spending time together. There's a lot of
Companionship.
there's
Yeah.
yeah. You know?
It's like
There's a lot of talking about things in genuinity about the world that probably wouldn't talk with anyone else. There's a calmness that comes with having a platonic friend who you understand each other. That Father Lord, thank you for this maturity, because I don't think it would have been possible without the maturity. Because the borderline between that emotional intimacy and cheating,
going very big.
it's very
So, question. I think we're all sort of winding up. I think we have a few minutes left.
yeah. Sorry.
Are you comfortable? This whole bestie. You have a significant other, but you also have a female best friend.
For the guys and for me,
Yeah,
and
let's
their
look at it
best
both
friends.
ways. Actually, a best friend in totality, because it doesn't matter if it's for me, it doesn't matter if it's a guy or a babe.
Yes. It's what was the question
Are
again?
you
We have 5 more minutes, so we're good.
Am I comfortable? Yes, I'm very comfortable. You know why?
with your boyfriend having a
A
male
best
best friend and a female best
Yeah.
friend?
Yes.
Okay.
From my own biological means of emotional being, I find myself wanting to balance what I give to people.
Oh, okay.
Okay? I don't always want to bombard one person with everything because I feel like I'm a lot. So bombarding this individual with all and everything is a bit difficult to me, because whatever for example, my boyfriend will give me as advice, and whatever my best friend will give me as advice, they will both come to play, but the difference in the advice helps out. 1, 2, I think it's unfair giving somebody everything and waiting on them to be everything to you, that is. You want them to be your best friend. You
Some
want
serious
them to be
emotional
your
maturity.
father. You want them to be your mother. You want them to be your provider. You want them to be bado your best friend. You want them to be bado a friend. You want them to be
Kenya Power.
your Uber driver. You want them to also be the guy who comes and change the bulbs in your house. Hey, yeah, Mimi, that one person cannot handle all that. The uniqueness and the beauty that comes with having other friendships and platonic friendship and best friends outside here is because you're able to balance it all in a way that doesn't make somebody have to carry a lot. If it makes sense to you. But then have boundaries. Be mature enough to have boundaries. That this is my best friend, but I can't sleep with him or her because this is my man. This is our level of intimacy. This is the level of intimacy with my best friend. This is a level of intimacy with my friend. As long as it's comfortable to the next person. And also remember, communicate to all of them about the other people and
being
how
honest.
and where your borders are so that all of them are comfortable with each and every other person. It brings peace.
Well,
Kola Kenya Power, Jona kwanga mse wa nguvu.
yeah, she's adequately said it. I think yeah, from what I can echo and all of that is that it takes effort. So if you're willing to do something, like I keep on saying numerous times, anything is possible. So I think personally, I'm okay. And she's spoken from it like it's a similar perspective to what I had. And she said it comes from, sorry, you do not want to put this on everyone. I mean, on one person. And I actually think even if there's one person to do it, even one person who is all these things, it is still okay. You might actually still want the same things that this one person is giving from other people, and that's all right. And that's why I keep on saying, yeah, it's bingo.
Controversial.
No, like for example,
For you.
yeah,
No, me naelewa by the way.
No,
I don't know what
it's
I
okay.
understand it,
It's
but you know
okay.
when he said the statement is you might want the same thing you get from Ajay. For example, if I was getting this from Ajay, I still want it from Owen.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, like attention, like depth, like, and that's why you.
Okay.
There's so many things. That's why I'm saying, like, open, and even nothing that you
Stop having a DD mentality.
even nothing you're hinting at, which I
Still
mean,
early morning, man.
tying down to my previous podcast. I should, like, for me, I think it depends with what works for two people, and what works for you. So the most important thing I'd like to say is that communication. Once you carry that, once you bother, once you bring that understanding, that's what's, because you could have one bestie and another bestie or another best friend. Sorry, let me use best friend because bestie is now a scandalous word. One best friend and another one, and it's okay. And these guys could all be feeling the same thing. I'm your friends. I've been there for you. Been there for me. You have another friend. You have your best friend. You see, so and that's human interaction because you connect differently and have different things and everyone is like every personality is different. So even how people would deal with you in different scenarios, like the advice you get from your moms, the advice you get from your friends, you want
need both.
you want, yeah, I mean, if you feel like you do, yes, and then yes, most definitely you do. So it's very I don't have an issue with, no matter the gender, like with my other person, because she needs that, and whatever she needs, that's on her. And I think the struggle when it comes to sexual intimate relationships is, and I had this recently, it's because we look to find everything in one person, which is where we struggle as human beings, and
There's a propensity.
yes, you want this person to be your source of joy, this person, what you're saying, putting everything on one person. This is just the person. And even if they're all these things, if my take on life is it still might not be enough, and that's okay. And you still need other interactions. And that's why they keep on needing, you need the recultivating and stuff. Now, let me use an example, because I mean, I was very scandalous with things before. Have you ever found that it's easiest that happy people cheat the most? People who actually have everything they want, everything. These are the people who cheat the most. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. So it's so yeah. Basically, all I'm saying, like, once you have the
Any clickbait.
Where
Emotional maturity, understanding what you guys agree on. Yeah, it works.
I'm trying to look at a scenario where maybe if you just had one person as your friend, this is one person you hang out every time with this person, don't you find yourself in situations where you have a problem and you can only call a particular gender to deal with it? Do you find yourself in that? I think everybody does.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Simply sums up the fact that just be broad, be open-minded.
exactly. And then yeah, so there's no set fact on this thing, so the dynamism. And that's the
Every
main
day
thing.
has a new change. That's
Yeah.
what I actually realized. Every day has whatever you believe today. Because, for example, our last episode, right now I don't have the same views. I listened to that episode and I'm like, there are a few things that I might have changed or might change at this point.
It's the beauty of platonic friendships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so guys, that's been us. It's been lovely having you. Lovely taking your presence. As always, your feedback is enigmatic. It's immaculate. We'd like to hear all of it. And yeah, thanks for giving us your ears. So, as has become custom, we need to end this episode with a pinky promise. So I think it's between
Maximum 1 cup of tea a day.
For you,
Ikienda sana mbili.
for you. Me,
Hapana.
I am thriving in my addiction era, so I'm not changing
Okay.
that.
Not more than 4.
Not more than 4 for sure.
Sawa.
yeah,
Thermos moja.
the pinky promise is not more than 4.
That big mug for friends.
What they've not
Yeah.
discussed is how big those 4 cups are. I mean, it could be an entire gallon or an entire lorry of tea. Anyways, cheers, guys. As always, ciao, peace.